Welcome back, everyone. Sunnis and Shias have major differences between their accounts of how the Quran was written, transmitted, and preserved. However, they both do have one remarkable thing in common. Both Sunnis and Shias reversed their narratives about Quran preservation. Now, broadly, Shias believe that Ali, as the true successor to Muhammad, had the real Quran, which incidentally was quite different from the Sunni version. The Quran of Ali allegedly affirmed his position as the first imam after Muhammad's death. This and other issues made it unfavorable to the Sunni majority, and the Shia Quran was rejected accordingly. It was then hidden and passed down through other Shia authorities in secrecy. Now, you know the popular Sunni account, which is very different, of the Uthmanic Quran and how that came to be. And if you took a wild guess that the Shias leveled all kinds of accusations against the Sunnis about falsifying the Quran, you would be correct. For many years, major Shia authorities reviled and rejected the Uthmanic Quran. Muhammad Ali Amir Muezi and Eaton Kohlberg comment, "The Imami or Twelver Shiites, with a drift of statements traceable back to their imams throughout the immense corpus of early Shiite hadith, have radically and explicitly cast doubt on the integrity of the Vulgate of Uthman, and thus have accused non-Shiites of having falsified the Quran. Virtually all of the pre-Buyyad Imami works that have come down to us, that's prior to the middle of the 10th century, written as they often were by recognized religious authorities, evoke at greater or lesser length, in direct or indirect manner, the falsified character of the version of the Quran known as Uthmanian." Virtually all Shia authorities before about the middle of the 10th century said the Sunni Quran was falsified, but then many Shia authorities started to reverse the narrative and affirm the veracity of the Uthmanic recension. Now, why would they do this? Well, a couple of reasons include the Sunnis eventually cramming down their own Quran in the territories they controlled, which included Shia populations. And you're probably all aware of how dangerous it eventually became to allege that the Quran the Sunnis selected was corrupted. Also, some Shia authorities rose to high places in the Abbasid Caliphate, where they came necessarily to assimilate to Sunni beliefs and influence other Shias accordingly. For these and other reasons, most Shias in the later 10th century and beyond abandoned their corruption allegations. What's possibly even more intriguing is that after changing their corruption narrative, some tried to backfill the historical data to make it match the new reality of Shias affirming the Sunni Quran. After referencing several important Shia opinions from the 12th to the 17th centuries, Amir Muezi and Kohlberg continue, according to these authors' manifold arguments, the traditions maintaining that the Vulgate of Uthman underwent alteration, concocted in heterodox circles, are utterly untrustworthy and form no part of Shia belief. While some modern Shia authorities continue to allege corruption or maintain a more ambiguous view about the preservation of the Quran, they appear to be the minority. And they always have been. At least that's what some Shia scholars want us to believe after they reversed the narrative to match the Sunnis. But had Sunni scholars always claimed their Quran was uncorrupted? No, of course not. You know lots of stories from Sunni sources that talk about totally or partially lost and eaten verses and surahs, disagreements about Quran recitation, and so forth. Stories of Quran corruption in Sunni sources affect numerous verses and surahs. But weren't these accounts later very damaging to the Sunni doctrine of the Quran? Absolutely. But surprisingly, these stories of corruption lived on. Hussein Madarisi's 1993 article refers to these same stories and Sunni accounts that we just alluded to as he explores early debates on Quran integrity. Nevertheless, such stories remained popular in the Sunnite tradition and were quoted by many reliable Sunnite transmitters of hadith. Over time, the material concerning alleged omissions and alterations in the Quranic text grew into monographs of considerable size in Sunnite literature. This eventually brought more problems for the Sunnites than it solved, as their opponents now argued with the alleged alteration in the Uthmanic text against them in polemical debates. This was certainly true with the Shiites, who were probably already suspicious about the circumstances of the promulgation of the official text and thought that some tampering with the text might have occurred in the process by those who took the charge of the preparation of that official recension. Faced with this challenge, Sunnite scholars later began to distance themselves from the early reports and instead emphasize the incorruptibility of the text of the Quran. Sounding familiar, isn't it? And just like the Shias, the Sunnis tried to rewrite history too. Sunnite scholars later forbade quotation of and reference to that genre of early material, that is, the early reports of corruption, even when it was transmitted by their own reliable chains of authority. So both Sunnis and Shias alleged corruption of the Quran, documented the same in their own sources, then reversed the narrative and acted like those sources didn't exist, demanding others do the same. And modern Muslim apologists have tried to write their own narrative, miraculous, perfect preservation. And that's the narrative that many of them would still have us believe in one form or another, in spite of the contradiction and complexity in their own sources. So who do you think is right, the Sunnis or the Shias? Or has the evolution of these narratives and their reversals played a part in obscuring the truth of the Quran's compilation and transmission altogether? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.